Welcome to Natural Fluency.
Have you ever noticed that you can read an English sentence perfectly, but the moment you try to say it out loud, it falls apart halfway through? This series is about fixing that, moving you from theory all the way to real, natural speech. But here's what most people miss. The best way to speak better is to stop making sound, at least at first. Before any word leaves your mouth, your lips, tongue, breath, and brain need to be aligned. Today, I'll show you exactly how to do that. Today is the preparation stage. We're going to talk about how to place a sentence into your body before actual speech, and how to build the inner structure that makes speaking possible. Most learners practice English by assembling a sentence from the first word forward, word by word, left to right, trying to push through to the end. But when it's time to actually speak, that method often blocks them. If they hesitate on the first word, the rest of the sentence falls apart. They know exactly what they want to say, but the words won't come out. And when they try to construct the sentence word by word while juggling grammar rules, tension builds up long before any natural flow can develop. So, why does that happen? To understand that, we first need to look at what language really is and how the brain forms memory. Language is connection. We make sense of the world by linking ideas, sounds, and experiences. Sometimes two seemingly unrelated concepts click together, and that's when real understanding happens. At the core of learning and thinking, there is connection. Language works the same way. Language builds in layers. A sound attaches to an object, that sound becomes a word, words link to other words, and eventually, those links carry abstract thought. Every level is a connection. So the heart of language is not each word by itself. The heart of language is how words connect. Those connections create sentences, and sentences carry our thoughts, intentions, and emotions. Your brain runs on the same principle. Every thought, every memory, every skill you've ever learned, all of it is built on neural connections or synapses. The stronger those connections, the more automatic the behavior. So, how do we build strong connections? 3 ingredients. First, understand what each word actually means. Second, understand how words fit together structurally. Third, repeat them in meaningful, real-life contexts. When all 3 come together, language stops being something you think about and starts being something you just do. Now, here comes a very important point. Most people assume that because we read and speak from left to right, our brain must store sentences the same way, front to back. But that's not quite how memory works. Your brain forms long-term memories by strengthening the connections between neurons, especially in areas like the hippocampus. The stronger the connection, the more permanent the memory. But here's the key. The signal doesn't only travel forward, from one neuron to the next. It also flows backward. Think of it like an echo. The later neuron fires back toward the earlier one and says, "Strengthen this link." That backward signal is what locks the memory in place. The details can sound technical, but the main point is simple. Long-term memory becomes stronger through a structure that reinforces connection in the reverse direction. So, what does that mean for language learning? Language learning is also the process of storing sentences made of words into long-term memory. So if backward signaling strengthens long-term memory, it makes sense that building a sentence from back to front could wire it into your brain more effectively. AI research backs this up. In 2014, Sutskever and his team tried something surprising in machine translation. They reversed the input sentence. Instead of processing, "I am a student," in normal order, they flipped it to "student am I." The result? Translation accuracy jumped. And the takeaway is clear. Language does not have to be processed only from front to back. The direction we are used to is not the only powerful way. Back-to-front connection can also be a very strong learning strategy. And this leads us to a concrete training method. It's called a reverse dry run. A dry run means practicing the action without fully executing it. Think of it like a dress rehearsal before a stage performance. You go through every movement, but the curtain stays down. No audience yet. And the dry run I'm talking about here is not just imagination in your head. You move your lips, tongue, jaw, and breath exactly as if you're really speaking, but you don't produce any sound. Every speech organ moves except your vocal folds. You stay completely silent. So why do we remove the sound? Because the moment you make sound, your attention shifts to what you hear, and you start reacting to the sound instead of feeling the movement. But in silence, you can zero in on every detail. How your lips shape each word, where your tongue lands, and how your breath flows. Without sound getting in the way, you learn the physical movements faster and more accurately. So this stage is basically a rehearsal right before real speech. You align the body first, without sound, and that becomes the strongest preparation for the next stage, which is actual vocalization. So, how do you do it? Let's say you have this sentence: "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog." Normally, most people would start with the, but we go the other way. Start with only the last word, dog, silently, twice in one breath. Then, lazy dog, silently, twice in one breath. Then, the lazy dog, twice in one breath. Then, over the lazy dog, twice in one breath. Then, jumps over the lazy dog, twice in one breath. And you keep adding one more word to the front like that. Fox jumps over the lazy dog. Brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And finally, the whole sentence. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Now, what does twice in one breath mean? It means you do one silent dry run on the exhale, and then, while the same breath is still going out, you do it one more time right away. Then, when you add a new word, you move to the next exhale and repeat the same pattern. So, why is this method so powerful? Let's go step by step. First, it turns your first word into a launchpad. When learners connect a sentence from the first word forward, they often try to hold grammar rules in conscious attention while building the sentence. But our attention is limited, so they spend too much energy before they even reach the first word, and the rest of the sentence becomes weaker. And on top of that, this does not match the direction in which long-term memory is strengthened, so learning becomes less efficient. But when you build from back to front, the ending locks in first. Then, as you keep adding words toward the beginning, the first word becomes a trigger. Say it, and the whole sentence flows out behind it. You're no longer painfully assembling the sentence in your head. It comes to you as a complete unit. And as a bonus, it naturally shifts your focus away from the subject and toward the verb, which is where the real energy of every English sentence lives. And when that happens, confidence grows, and fluent speech becomes possible. If that connection is weak, the opposite happens. You feel anxious. The sentence doesn't come up easily. Speaking becomes harder. And when that repeats, confidence drops and fluency drops with it. Second, it trains your breath and your brain at the same time. When you connect and repeat the words of a sentence quickly within one breath, you naturally train the muscles needed for speech. And the slight tension that comes from repeating longer sentences quickly can make the memory formation even stronger. That makes this method a powerful rehearsal right before real speech. With enough repetition, the brain's network becomes more strongly connected, and that creates a base for more abstract language use too. So you do not stay stuck at one memorized sentence. You begin to build the ability to create different expressions depending on the situation and the intention. And these connections aren't rigid, they stay flexible, so it's not just one memorized sentence that sticks. You develop the ability to produce similar expressions adapted to the moment. It's exactly how children learn. They absorb patterns, then remix them into new sentences they've never heard before. Third, it builds natural sound linking between words. When you build a sentence in reverse, you naturally tune in to how words connect in pronunciation. Stress patterns shift, strong to weak, weak to strong. And feeling those shifts physically, in your breath and your mouth, is essential for fluent speech. As learners build the sentence one word at a time from the back, they can focus especially on the difficult parts of pronunciation. They get enough practice with the natural flow between words, and that becomes a big help in real speaking. If you try to say the whole sentence out loud from the very beginning without preparation, it can feel difficult and stressful. But if you first strengthen the links between words through a reverse dry run, then move into actual speech, you can speak much more naturally and fluently. So, let's wrap it up.
Language is connection. The connection between words creates sentences, creates meaning, and delivers thought. And when the brain forms long-term memory, it does not only strengthen connection from front to back, it also strengthens it in reverse. A reverse dry run applies that idea to language learning. You start from the last word of the sentence and connect backward toward the front, while moving the speech organs without making sound. Through this, the sentence becomes more tightly connected. The first word becomes a trigger that calls up the whole sentence, and pronunciation linking and breath training happen at the same time. Today we focused on the preparation stage. We talked about why this silent stage matters and how to do it. In the next video, we'll finally add sound. We'll take the sentence you aligned inside the body through today's dry run and connect it to real vocal speech. And when sound comes out from a body that is already prepared, you'll feel the difference for yourself. So, stop forcing sentences out from the front. Start from the back. Prepare your body in silence. And when you finally add your voice in the next video, you'll feel the sentence rise up almost on its own. I'll see you there. Thank you.